Share a story with you from this morning. I was on the phone. Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this. These things can actually be used to talk to other people too. It's not just a camera. I was amazed when I discovered that this morning because, well, I have ChatGPT on it and I use it for notes. So go figure. But anyway, we were talking about AI and voice recording and video manipulation. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's the word I'm going to use. And somehow, I don't know how, but he was a friend of my dad's as well. So somewhere down the path of conversation, we started talking about my dad. And my dad loved Christmas. It was probably his favorite holiday. So since he passed away, it's kind of been strange, just not having him around. So we're talking, and I don't know where this thought came from, but in my head popped the idea that, hey, I've got some voice recordings of him, and I have a photo of him. Obviously, I've got several photos of him, but whatever. So I took the audio clips of his voice and I uploaded them to a website called 11 Labs. Now, 11 Labs is a voice recording, it's a voice AI platform that can take samples of your voice and have you talk back, even though it's not you. So I've used it for myself several times. It's got probably 15 minutes worth of voice sample of mine, and I can type whatever into its interface. So it's a text-to-speech program. So I'll type whatever I want it to say, and it will come back sounding, for all intents and purposes, just like me. So with my 45 seconds or so of voice sample of my dad, I went ahead and uploaded it into 11 Labs. And 11 Labs, after a few generations, sounded just like my dad. It was really, really creepy, okay? Because the conversation, or what came out of the speakers, I knew wasn't my dad because I literally had just typed the words into the interface. Okay, but it was so surreal. It was very it was emotional. It was just crazy. So then I took it a step further because our conversation had to do with Christmas, and I wanted to just kind of surprise him. Because this technology, this AI stuff is so out of the world amazing, and it's going to continue getting better. So for people who say, it's a fad, well, they said that about computers back in the late 90s too. As a kid, I remember watching some guy on TV, and this random guy was in his early 30s, late 20s, and he said, my goal is for everybody to have a computer in their home. And I remember watching this with my grandma, and I said, I can't believe, because computers at the time took up entire rooms. And she, knew that as well. She's like, yeah, that guy's just, basically the equivalence of he's smoking crack. Whatever they said in the 70s for that phrase. That's what she said. Bill Gates turned out to be very right because, well, I don't know about you, but I've got several computers in my house, and it's just me. So AI is going to be the same thing. People are going to fight it and say it's taking our jobs and it's doing this and it's doing that and it's an evil thing. And in the next 5 years, everybody will be using AI even more than they already are. So I took this audio recording that I had just made, and I found a photo of my dad looking at the camera, and I uploaded it into DID, which is it takes an image and actually makes the head move and the eyes open and the mouth move and in sync with the words from the audio. So I took this picture and I uploaded it, and I took the audio and I uploaded it, and then I clicked the button that said generate. And within a few seconds, my dad literally, well, I don't know if it's literally at this point or not. I don't know. Anyway, my dad was greeting my friend in a video saying Merry Christmas. And it caught me off guard because it was my dad, which was a trip because he passed away in 2017. So I knew it wasn't my dad, but it sounded like him and it looked like him. And it was the same type of statements he would have said. So yeah, I'm not going to share that video with anybody. If you've got somebody that you'd like me to do a video, and hey, I might consider doing it. I probably won't do another one of these, just because I was blown away just by my emotions, and I didn't get ultra emotional because I knew, I knew I did it and I knew I manipulated and everything. But just the thought of having a conversation with my dad again and being able to ask him questions and legitimately have a conversation was kind of overwhelming. I was surprised with the way I felt. Which brings up another part of this conversation, and I really did use ChatGPT to help come up with some ideas for doing this. Without getting into the ethics part of this, which I'm going to mention, have you ever thought of the person? We've all been asked this question. I'll ask you, who would be the one person in history that you could sit down, if you could sit down and have a conversation with, who would it be? A lot of people will say Lincoln or Kennedy or Jesus or whomever. Now, if you've got a voice recording of that person, so let's stick with Kennedy, because that's, there are plenty of recordings. Say you wanted to have a conversation with JFK. We've got pictures of him. We've got voice samples of him. You could upload a voice sample of JFK. Check this out. You could upload a voice sample of JFK and now ask questions using ChatGPT that could be loaded into 11 Labs, into this text-to-voice or text-to-speech program. You could upload that into DID. You could have conversations with JFK. Think about that. That's crazy, and that's what the revelation was that came to my mind this morning. I'm like, I could literally have conversations with anybody I wanted to in history, particularly if I had a voice recording of them. So that brings in the ethics part. Would you do it? I'd never thought about doing that with my dad and his image and his voices until this morning. And having done it, it's like, I don't know. I can't say I won't ever do it. I doubt I'll do it again. Okay. Just because it was kind of creepy, kind of weird, kind of crazy. So I just kind of wanted to mention this. I mean, AI, so many people just use it for text generation, and teachers are afraid of it for plagiarism, which it's not plagiaristic. Using AI content is not plagiarizing. It's unique content coming from all sorts of different sources. Smart people don't take it verbatim and copy and paste it. But if you learn how to edit it, now you can actually use it and actually legally claim it as your own. But you do need to do some editing, make it your own. But AI is way more than just text and content in text format. Because I proved it to myself today. It was the craziest thing. So there's that, the technology. We kind of chatted about that a little bit. 11 Labs DID and ChatGPT. ChatGPT came up with applications in reviving historical figures and loved ones. I don't know. There are some people I definitely want to sit down and have conversations with. If you read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about, coming up with your mastermind and, having conversations with them. When he wrote the book, he was talking about having conversations with them in your mind. Now you can literally have a conversation with somebody historical that you wanted to know more about or get their input on something you're working on. Hey, John, JFK, if I was doing this, how would you approach it? Crazy. The emotions, I brought that up. But the last thing here is, ethics. Got to really touch on that. I mean, AI, with all of its technological abilities, it's going to continue to advance. It's going to continue to get better. It's going to continue to get smarter. Like I said, when I recorded my dad's voice and uploaded it, didn't record it, but when I uploaded it to 11 Labs and ran it through a few generations, the first generation didn't sound that great. But as it learned the inflections and tone and all of that, it sounded more and more like my dad. Okay, so AI is going to learn. It's learning. It's going to be teaching itself. Some think and speculate that it already is. So there may be that time where we really have to weigh the ethics and ask, should we go down this path? The technology's out there. You could bring up a loved one who has passed and use what I did. It took me, honestly, 5 minutes, maybe. I wouldn't go more than 6. So you could do that within a couple of minutes of time. So anyway, it was kind of a crazy morning, crazy conversation that turned into something that I never expected to happen. The moral of the story, yes, there is. I only had 45 seconds of voice sample to work with from my dad. Before my mom passed away, I asked her to record some videos, so people could remember her, so future grandkids could learn about her and stuff. That never happened. Of course, I don't really blame her. I mean, all we had back then were big old honking VHS, recorders. Put it on your shoulder. I'm encouraging you through the moral. Shoot video, record stuff, save it in a file for people to, somewhere down the line. And again, it's an ethics thing. It's a moral thing. It's I just know if I could have conversations with either of my parents again, I would love it. So why make it hard on people in the future? I don't know. Anyway, that I'm just gonna leave with that because I could go down a whole rabbit hole, and we are at over 13 minutes of something I expected to be 5. So hope you're having a great day. Merry Christmas. It's only a few days away. Go out to the mall. Be like my buddy. Go to Costco on a Friday, 3 days before Christmas. That's just crazy. I could think of many better things to do. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend and great Christmas if I don't talk to you before then. And take